Good evening, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about a very interesting topic, which is bibliometric analysis and descriptive analysis via or under the systematic literature reviews. So, I'm gonna share a screen with you all, and today we're gonna explain step by step how to do all these type of analysis with tools, with steps, strategies. So in the beginning, I would like to say that here in the systemic approach, we're gonna learn how to do a systemic approach, descriptive statistics, bibliometric metric methods, and inshallah, in the next time, we will talk about how to do a meta-analysis. So basically, in the beginning, I would like to say that there are four essential research methodology. We need to learn the structured, reproducible method for reviewing and synthesizing existing research evidence. Second, the descriptive analysis, summarizing, visualizing data through statistical measures of center, tendency, and variability. And bibliometric analysis by using quantitative analysis of academic publications, citations, co-authorship, and keywords and patterns, and screening all these things by using the PRISMA model, which means that how we going to extract these papers, how many papers did we conclude with, what are kind of papers that was excluded, what are the key words that we use for the journals, for the papers that we need to find and select and downloaded it via Excel sheets, and what are the right websites that we can search for the search engine. So in the beginning with the systematic approach is transparent method for identifying, critically appraising relevant research studies. So if I'm a researcher, I would like to publish a research paper, I can do the systematic approach, which means that I'm gathering, summarizing all the previous studies and trying to find a new contribution or study gap or the direction of the studies and highlighting, pointing out what should we cover. So basically, the systematic approach explains what was discovered yet, or what the things that is not discovered, and what we discovered, and what can we do in the future studies. So here the definition is a structured, predefined, repeatable process for conducting research. It minimizes the bias, the maximizes transparency, allows other researchers to replicate the process. In addition, it's important because reproducible and replicable findings minimize the selection. Publication bias means that maybe I can publish a paper that is already there or does not have any contribution. That's why systematic approach is very important, required by high impact journals. In addition, predefined protocol, we learn to know how to choose the objectives of the study, what do we include or what we exclude before searching. The comprehensive search, we can find these research papers from very important databases such as PIMET, Scopus, Wheel of Science, Google Scholar. But the most important things that I like to use is Scopus from the search engine. So it's also good for quality assessment for each included study. Transparent synthesis, narrative, or meta-analytic synthesis reported via PRISMA. So the first step you need to know is to define the research question. What is your research question? Maybe I'm exploring the cyber risks. So an AI, if an AI creates maybe coding that have an impact on cyber security, would leads to cyber risks. So I would like to identify if anyone searched in this paper. So define the research question, use the PICO, which means population, intervention, comparison, outcome, be specific and measurable. Second step is register protocol. Using a register on PROSPRO or OSIP before starting prevents outcome switching bias. Then choosing or developing the right search strategy, like choosing the right keywords and screen and select the studies. By doing an abstract screening, you identify the findings, the methods, the objectives, and choose to determine if this abstract aligns and to be included or excluded in my systematic literature review. In addition, extract and appraise data by extracting all the abstracts or all the papers that you identified and using synthesis and report, narrative synthesis or meta-analysis, adhere to PRISMA 2020 reporting guidelines. So in the beginning with descriptives, we use descriptives meaning that it explains the majorities of the paper have done this, the minority have done that, and the countries and the years, and mentioned that, oh, like in 2020, there are many papers discussed on cyber risk, maybe because of the COVID-19, the post-COVID-19, and the pre all these things. So that's why the idea of descriptive, like summarizing, organizing, presenting data through meaningful statistical measure. So it's important that we need to learn that descriptive analysis summarizes, organizes raw data into comprehensive patterns without drawing interference. It answers what does the data look like, center tendency and variability and distribution shapes. So we learn is the mean and the median, the mode for sure, the ranges, the maximum, the standard deviation, the frequency tables, histograms, the skewness, the direction of the studies, where it's going. In addition, how to do this in steps. First, step number one is to collect and organize the data. You extract all this research paper, and we're going to learn how to do that in the following slides by using the SPSS, the Excel, the R, check for missing values, outlines, entry errors, run the descriptives, create visualizations, doing charts. Maybe you don't even need an SPSS, just an Excel sheet and showing you pie chart and flow chart, and that's it. And test the normality and interpret and report. So here in the advanced search engine, we learned that we can identify the research papers that we want to extract and download to analyze it by doing descriptive analysis. So step number one is opening the search engine of Scopus, and at documents, we're going to click here, number one, article title, abstract keywords, and we're gonna paste the keywords that I'm looking for my research paper. So if it's marketing, maybe I'm searching for something like consumer behavior. So I need to learn the consumer engagement, consumer behavior, trust, all these things. And we need to learn about type or and these quotations. It will help us. And this website that we are, or the screenshot that we are looking on it now, it tells us also what countries that people published there, the name of the authors, the time duration of the studies. Maybe I'm looking just for recent studies, 5 years, like from 2021 till 2026, and so on. So as we can see here, we need to learn how to choose the right keywords. So what are the difference of R and etc. So I chose the marketing research because I find that the keywords is easy to understand for any subject, even if you are in physics, finance, biology, doesn't matter. But I find that marketing, it's marketing, like you do marketing in daily basis. So it says here, operator by or processed first. We need to learn what does or means. At least one term must appear in results, this or that. Like an example, digital marketing or online marketing. So both of them have the same meaning, but sometimes there are schools that meaning like tradition or style of writing, they use digital marketing, and other places using online marketing, but they have the same meaning. That's why we're saying this word. W/N, specific proximity between words within n words in any order. Influencers, W/3 brand. Find records where influencer appear within 3 words, brand in any order, etc. Let's skip to till end. Both terms must be present, so both words must exist, like brand and equity, social media and advertising, and not. So one of them included, the other is not included, like marketing and not spam. Find records about marketing, but exclude those focused on spam. Maybe I would like to talk about email marketing, but I don't want to exclude anything like hacking, spam, because maybe this will goes to the direction of this cybersecurity. It goes to the computer science field. So that's why I would like to avoid this. I want to focus as strategic marketing analysis. That's why these phrases are very important. In addition, for interaction, replace 0 or more characters at the end of a word to find variations. Find market, marketing, marketed, etc. Grouping between quotation marks or between columns, digital or online, and customer or consumer. This means that find records containing either digital or online. And so digital and customer, for example, or online and consumer, or maybe online consumer and digital consumer, etc. So this behavior may vary across databases, depends on what's your data, which website you're going to use. That's why you need to use this approach. But this approach best aligns with Scopus as far as I know. This is how the analysis of descriptive should look like. Not always, maybe I don't need to use the histogram or normality test. Maybe I can just learn the directions of the studies, like the charts, figures, majority, minority, percentage, and that's it. This depends on your descriptive approach. So Prisma model, it's a very important slide. It teaches us that what have you done, meaning that in the systematic literature review, we need to learn, we need to identify and show the reader, show the researcher how these things has been identified, meaning that um, I'm doing screening, I'm collecting data. I need to show the reader how many papers I have found, how many papers I have excluded, which countries, the time limit, all these things. So the first step we need to learn is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. The phase number one is identifications. We learned that the number of papers that was identified in the databases, the other resources. Screening is to remove the duplications, anything is not related. Eligibility, meaning that I'm able to trust these papers and I'm going to use it, including this is the final steps included in qualitative narrative or quantitative. And I mentioned that there are qualitative and there are quantitative papers. So to separate and to show the reader that there are different papers with different methodology, like quantitative and qualitative are different. So this is how an abstract, and flow diagram should look like, and this is how it should look like as implemented diagram. So these are the empty places that you should fill, and here is an action real example for a topic, like as we can see. So beginning with the identification, then removing leads to screening, then eligibility, then include. So you can pause it and you can read it for yourself after we explained it previously. So this is more focused example by using the right keywords. And we found that, for example, I was searching for someone in field of statistics, searching for words like survival analysis, time event, Cox proportional hazard, all these things. So he identified that there are 1,841 documents found. So he needs also to search, are these articles only or articles conferences? So what, it depends on your objective in your research. You want just to focus on articles, you can include conferences, all these things. So there are 8 practical steps: register protocol, conduct database search, duplicated record to remove, screen title and abstract, access full text, extract data and quality, build Prisma flow diagram, and report all these diagrams. So by the last part of the systematic, last not least, there are also the meta-analysis, but we're going to discuss it in upcoming sessions for sure. So in the bibliometric analysis, the main idea, it's a quantitative measurement of academic publications, citation, co-authorship, and intellectual structures. It shows a diagram connected nodes between papers. So it applies the statistical methods to analyze publication patterns, citation flows, co-authorship networks, keywords co-occurrence, scientific fields. So the most keywords that key tools that we use are the VOSviewer, Publishini, Publish, or Perish, but I really like to use VOSviewer because it's free and it's easy. Number one, the first analysis that we can use, the citation analysis, measures the research impact via citation, counts most influential papers, authors, journals in the field. Second, co-authorship network maps collaborative relationship between authors, institutions, countries reveal dominant research partnership. Last but not least, keywords co-occurrence, identify the research themes, clusters, shows how topics are connected and how they evolve over time. So all this direction teaches us how we learn and understand the diagrams. And then lastly, the co-citation analysis. It's frequently shows how topic studies are cited together, are linked together, you know. So the first one, we need to download the VOSviewer. You can read it for yourself. It's very easy instruction, and it's also free. It aligns with any type of laptop computer that you have, either Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. Beginning with the data acquisition, as we showed you, before. Here we can zoom in, sees here that we need to search for the right keywords, and we're gonna have this approach. After that, we're gonna limit the time. Maybe I'm searching for 5 years, 6 years. Then after that, I'm gonna press export by Excel, and I'm going to choose all the authors, the year, the DOI, the abstract names, all these things to export the Excel sheet. Then I start to download the VOSviewer. I have it. Then I create a new data type and say that this is a map based on network data. So I'm gonna upload my CSV file. After that, I'm gonna press read data bibliometric, which is Scopus. I'm gonna mention that my data is from Scopus website. And here is the CSV, the Excel sheet file, and I'm gonna browse it and click to this one. Then we have many types: the co-authorship analysis diagram, the co-occurrence analysis, the citation, the bibliographic, and co-citation. Here, after that, we're gonna choose the co-authorship and mention the authors, and I would like to choose the diagram of the authors and talk about it in the research paper, as looking on the figure of co-authorship, we found that this and this and that. So this threshold minimum number of documents of a country, meaning that maybe we have many countries, you know, we have more than 200 countries. So if there are many authors published in China, but there are just like in for example, a few countries are just one author, one author, one author. So the diagram would look like very ridiculous, and it's not that important or a big deal to mention it. So we're gonna decrease the threshold amount just to zoom in and highlight the most important countries, the most important papers and authors that they made a publication for it. Here, for example, if we're gonna read, for example, choose the thresholds option. If you are doing the co-authorship analysis, you could set the threshold for the minimum number of co-authorship to 5. This would mean that only authors who have co-authored at least 5 papers or other authors will be included in visualizations. Anything other than that will not be included. So all these countries with all these authors we can see, and here is the diagram of the countries. And we can see that in the United States, the circle is big because the threshold is large and there are many authors published here, but the other countries are smaller and smaller, etc. That's why maybe it's good that you minimize the threshold and not to increase it. It's just like, hey, I want to mention all, but maybe there are authors just published one paper in a single country and it's not linked to other countries. So there will be no connecting dots. That's why we need to carefully choose the right amount that I need to choose to show the perfect correct diagram. So as we can see, we have the 4 types of visualization. The density shows the distribution of network. It shows us the high concentration of the studies, the timeline relationship between time of network over time. Then we have the cluster of the groups of the network and related to each other, and also the keywords that is related to each other. So to summarize, we have the systematic approach as we learn, just shows the key directions of the study and teach me that what are the new contributions or the things that was not discovered and discovered, and what can I do in the future. And there is the descriptive, the bibliometric, and the PRISMA model. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please write me or you can email me. And I really appreciate for your time. Thank you so much.